Thank you very much. Good evening or good morning. The process we started yesterday in a way of very humble, very collective as a total Keshe Foundation, and setting the scene with a simple opening, no what we call razzmatazz and no all these blowing things up. And then with the following process of today's and gradually building it up to next 2 or 3 months to what it should be, has shown us in a way how effective Keshe Foundation in the background is. About 15 minutes, 20 minutes before opening of the program yesterday, the number of people coming into establishment, which is already set to serve huge number of viewers at the same time, the service crashed and they could not support the viewers. These channels carry possibility of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands to be able to link in. And this showed immediately that we have passed hundreds of thousands because it was a morning time. There is no pressure on the servers of the television channel. And such a surge of people showed the popularity of the station, the Keshe Foundation station, which is set up. If it was 10,000, 100,000, the servers of the television center, the backers of it could have met the demand. So we know we run into millions. There was a first clear indication Keshe Foundation has become a global system. But the beauty of it is, as for example, today's session, we can openly speak about what we can do, as long as we don't abuse it, that we bring people with us than excluding them, castigizing them. These are the things that most of the knowledge seekers should avoid in all the programs they make, and allows us to concentrate on bringing the real way of new knowledge continuously out in a way of fresh news, fresh understanding. It is very, I think, important for knowledge seekers, especially those of you who are connected to the TB representative section, to dig out the testimonials. Go in and find the testimonials about Corona, bring it out and record it. We put up testimonial records of the Corona, we're backing it. The biggest challenge for us from today is to work towards that world peace. Because in the process of delivering the technology and encouraging the governments to be there, we have shown collectively we are as a one nation, we are operating. And as one nation, we can deliver a lot of things. We were going through the program setting this afternoon with the Keshe Foundation team. And at the moment, we have 17 languages online coming up, but we don't have Indians. We have Bangladesh. We don't have people from Pakistan or Turkey or other parts of the world. And it's time to encourage them to join it. And in so many ways, our plan for the next steps of the programs start getting loaded up is to bring in the news. We do not go out live as we've seen today. We set a structure that you can get in touch with your eminent scientists, you can get in touch with your politicians and invite them to an interview, to be recorded, to be shown. And in these programs, we use our central station studio to record these and then upload them on the server. And then we announce interviews, discussions. They speak between each other from China to Canada to Brazil or to any other part, and bring 3 or 4 eminent scientists or politicians to debate the condition of the piece, the condition of the new technology. This is what we want to do very extensively in the next 2 weeks, which means we spend a lot of time recording back in the studio, in a way, conversations between a number of 3, 4, 6 scientists and politicians, and in spreading the technology out. We have to bring this in a common ground, in a ground where the scientists, you do it in your own language. They don't need to speak English. Organize, call politicians, scientists, and interview them for the Keshe Foundation television. And send the recording to us. We don't have to do anything. There are 2 things which I try to explain is having a central organization, but at the same time being independent to support with new ideas and ways. This is what the television is going to be. If we do not reach this, the whole structure will collapse. The whole process is to continuously generate interest. In the next 3 or 4 weeks, many of you are what I call greeners. First time even recording, first time some of you even listening to your own presentation, and it's strange to see yourself on the other side of the camera. But gradually we will build up. The advertising, the promotions will come in. The news, breaking news will come in. We know roughly where and what we are looking for. And in a progressive way, we build it up. The biggest pleasure for me today and yesterday was that we could clearly speak about Corona without the fear of being brought down. We could explain the science behind the technology we offer for Corona. And once this is uploaded, I hear the editors have finished with it today, it's going to be uploaded in the next couple of hours. Give this link to everyone to see, to watch. Send it to all representatives, to the government officials, to doctors. And in so many ways, we have a lull. We have a quiet time in the next 7 days in Iran. And from then on, the firework starts. And we will promote it through different ways. When in Iran is traditionally a week of holidays, usually it's 12 days. And then we go back on. The whole structure is that we take the Corona and the position of the space technology and peace through Iran out. This is what we plan, because getting the world leaders to follow is very hard. But getting the people who work with you to work and go out is very easy. Maybe many of you watched the presentation of Yusuf, and you saw the way the makeup artist made them to look. But I look beyond that, beyond the message, beyond the talks. The most important thing, which gave a very big signal to especially American and Chinese, with a broadcast of an hour and something of the Iranian group, was that Iran National Television has recorded the program. It means we are recognized directly, and this is where the gap was with the Keshe Foundation for a long time, where the nation of the birth was not supporting its inventor, its what we call the developer of the technology. And in a very simple way, that 1 hour, even if it was 5 minutes, recorded at the central station, central television center of the Iran, was a huge step in accepting the technology to come through Iran. We saw The papers we published some month ago on 10th of February in respect to the Keshe Foundation being involved in the space technology of Iran. Now the television station. Now the Keshe Foundation Center in Tehran has been established and opens up sometime next 2 weeks. It's already been, all the things for it has been set up. And they carry their own studio in the center. And we have taken one of the knowledge seekers who's educated in television production. And the beauty of it is, we will see the change coming in through. We have seen with the Chinese team have all moved more or less in the past 2 days and the next couple of days into one location that they are finalizing the negotiation, and hopefully by the end of next week, Keshe Foundation China will own one of the largest manufacturing bases of nearly, at the end of it, something like 500,000 square meters of property, factory, development, research center, a space center, in one of the most secure areas of China. It's taken us 2 years to negotiate, and now they have moved into position to sign the final documents. This factory will become the icon of the Keshe Foundation. We establish everything we want on this property. The building is already built. We have just moved in to take over the repairs, and it's what we call the piping and everything. And the Keshe Foundation team has homed in. They are moving all into one of the largest factories of the Keshe Foundation we will see for a time to come. This, in support with the change in Iran, and support with the support of the Iranian and the Chinese backed Keshe Foundation, has started changing us. In so many ways, this new factory which we take over, it is the cornerstone of change of everything which will come out of China in so many ways. It's where the China, name of China, pottery came from. We are at the beginning. This was a wish of His Excellency President Xi 3 years ago, that he wanted the Keshe Foundation, as is a new start in technology, to go where the actual Silk Road started, that the knowledge will go down the Silk Road. They brought us to this city, and they accommodate us to make sure Keshe Foundation receives this factory that it can start. You got to realize, keeping a factory which is 250,000 extend to 500,000 for a nation which is in development, especially available for the Keshe Foundation to take over, and they left it empty deliberately for us, is the biggest step. And very soon, the Keshe Foundation China will report from this factory. We are targeted to produce 1 to 3 million liters of gas a month. It's one of the largest expansions. And with it, we open the 3 factories in China. We have already received the backing from 2 nations to go ahead with it. The changes are huge, the steps are big, but now we have to prove what we say we can deliver. We see more and more rhetoric coming out, especially through Belgians, and this is deliberate to discredit. You have to keep your eyes open. We know, and authorities are moving, homing in on this. This time they're going to snap it at the root. That the technology like this cannot be scuppered anymore, because they're looking for jobs, they're looking for security of government, security of the nations, and they would not allow what we've seen in the past 7, 8 years, the mayhem they created, and now they started again on the internet. Do not be surprised if you see radical moves, and then we get blamed for it as Keshe Foundation or who we are or what we do. The whole structure to move forward with the support of 2, 3 leading nations has started. And as you heard today, we are inviting the world leading space agencies to join us at a very high level. You got to understand, we already had these connections, but they were too shy to come in. And now, with the support of Iran, that has become possible. It's the time for it. Some of you ask, is the time for Mitra? Mitra has already been conceived and is in position of its light, will take the light to its ultimate goal. In so many ways, we are collectively supporting the change. We are collectively structuring the change to come that we all will see the what I call the bigger picture. You were talking about those who are excluded in India. We have many, many, many places many of us are excluded from. As I said, even the President Trump was excluded from the Facebook. You can see how bad exclusion is going everywhere. But the reality is that can we exclude each other from a space? Can we exclude each other from development of new technologies? Can we exclude each other from dying of hunger? Can we exclude many, many things? What I said to the Keshe Foundation television team, and many of you know in the background, is that in the coming weeks and months, Keshe Foundation will become the center of the news itself. We have worked on it. It's not coincidental. We are working extensively to develop this, that gradually in the coming months, Keshe Foundation TV becomes the center for a specific kind of news that a lot of people are looking for. We are not targeting into anything. And as you've seen, we target in two things: opening up the new science in the space and pushing and cajoling the governments towards peace. I was told for my own safety, step down for a couple of more months. I said, the reality is we don't have that couple of more months. The peace process for mankind has started. And there is no way it can be stopped. There is no way it can be stopped. Even today, as is the first day of the new year in Iran, Iranian leaders have been working to make sure Keshe Foundation will come where they wanted, the way they wanted. To them, as they said to me, New Year or no New Year does not matter. The future of the nation and humanity does not allow us to take a day off. And we will see this. As I said, when I tell you that, they come to Keshe Foundation to take the news because we become the newsmakers. We bring credibility to it very rapidly, but at the same time, we stay outside it. It's your program, it's your television. You have to ask what's next. What can we do to bring in? And don't wait to be shepherded to where to go. Take initiative, bring new programs, bring new insights, take steps, and don't be afraid of failure, but make it work. What is the reaction of the press onto this? How many of you have called your press and give them the link of the Keshe Foundation television program? Ask them what is the response to what has been released. We will go on Thursday to all the knowledge seekers to ask them. You just need to call one person in government and one person in press and give them the link. Can you give us the response to this? We have to generate the next step. We have to generate the condition for the next assignment to bring the peace. It doesn't come by us sitting around and saying, oh, it was a nice program. He could talk about the corona and the treatment and the virus. I've done nothing if you don't pick up that line, if you don't get in touch with a person on the other end of the phone and tell them what is respect or what is your response to this which has been released. The White House, the American presidential offices, the Chinese, and everywhere else. And let's see what happens. This is a birth of a new life for all of us and our future generation. And in so many ways, I was requested by Iranian leadership to return to Iran, to be in Iran for New Year's. And I responded very simple. I can do more being outside to deliver the peace, not only for Iran, but the world leaders and other governments. We are set to bring the change, but we have to show we are not connected and we are independent from any influence anywhere. As one of the Iranian leaders said on the phone past couple of days, we made every effort to make sure you're in Iran, but it has not happened. Because you decided that you can achieve peace from outside and more than inside. And you will understand very soon what it means. I led the 5+1 negotiation and will lead a new type of negotiation in the coming weeks. In a way, the West knows what's going to hit them and are praying to God that this would not happen, because then they have to show a lot of things which they claim they have and they possess. But all that will come through the KFTV. We release it and you will spread it. And in a way, the news will come very fast, indirectly and directly through the Keshe Foundation. But none of this was possible if there were not knowledge seekers. You watched 26 minutes of the program. Today we received from the Chinese a new tape. Russians have come in now, and even there is one of them supposed not to be Russian, but started it. But now the Russian team will start coming in. Now they've seen the voice for the first time outside. And we'll see many languages gradually creeping in. But you have to understand, there's a lot of pressure for a lot of people to be able, if we can do our best. And would it be successful? I think the best example of this will be if we can get the Hebrew language to open the Shabbat. And we'll see how they present it. We've seen today with the session with what I call Lisa and Jim, it can be done. You can create documentaries without being seen. You can create news, generate, record without being seen. And this is what is the next step to come. We never see people who make documentaries. They're always a voice on their program, unless they decide to show themselves. And this is what he has to come be. He has to move into the next steps. Everything, as was said, we are going to show the flight system. We're going to show the new enhancement system in operation. We're going to show the new transportation system and transmutation system. But ask one question. It's only one, and it only all comes out of one research center. What about you as a knowledge seeker? Can you repeat it? Have you understood it? Do you know how to replicate such a technology? Otherwise, it's just somebody who's done it. And this is what we're trying to break through. That all of you know how to make it. All of you know with the governments how to achieve it. And this is the next program for the Keshe Foundation. Bringing the governments to develop the new technologies in conjunction with the Keshe Foundation knowledge. Exactly like the way it's happening in Iran. We have been given a huge, huge land by the officials to start the trials in Iran. Now we have taken the shape, and we will broadcast it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. But what I said, the child is conceived and life has started. And in so many ways, what I call the wish of Mitra has been love, and to spread that love throughout the universe. And no one in the universe has been better lovers than human beings. Then we are on the right track. When we look at, as I said, it takes months and years of planning for somebody to open something like this. Maybe they open a television channel, one man, one band, one somewhere, or in one nation. It's the first time we opened up collectively as one nation, one planet. It'll never be repeated because there is always division amongst the people due to their race and color. We've seen it, Al Jazeera Arabic, Al Jazeera this, Al Jazeera English, but we call it Keshe Foundation. The Farsis run their program in Farsi. We hear soon from all of you in their own language, and you're all respected for what you do and how you spread knowledge. This is the true unification of mankind. And you're all choosing when you want to talk, when, which time you want, how you want to do it. And you don't need to go to a satellite company which just transmits your own native language mother tongue. There's a lot of changes in this simple move, but gradually you will understand. At the moment, we have 17 languages which are coming up. You see to about 25 to 40 by the end of the year, and you will see how everybody wants to be part of it as knowledge seekers. We achieved what most of the people take years of organizing in less than 30 days. And as I say, when you make a right move, everything goes right. We have a beautiful director, head of the Keshe Foundation, Neil, who knows, and he actually, like a child, is nursing people in how to hold the camera, how to do this, how to do that. And we're getting more and more people coming in to support. I wish you all a successful network because, as I said today and yesterday, I'm a facilitator, not the runner. I facilitate the knowledge to be transferred to man. I facilitate everything else like the television. The rest of it is you who have to do the work and make it work. We will not bring broadcasters in to do things. And we are very, very careful not bring outsiders in because they don't understand it. Even with our editor, we have a problem because he knows about the Keshe Foundation. He's been around Keshe Foundation people for 2-3 years, but he still hasn't come with the love of mankind. Today, while we were broadcasting, and we came off the stage for Lisa or the testimonial from Hawaii, and I was wondering how the editor team is working, listening to these things. These are all new, they never heard about the Keshe Foundation. And they're sitting there and they have supposed to edit it and they're learning. And we have created another fire amongst the people who never knew the technologies. They just came in to be broadcasters, to be editors, to be there to facilitate. I was thinking, how do they feel when they see, and they're all from news, they're not somebody outside. The structure of the Keshe Foundation TV is very unique in a way. We record, we receive everything into the bank of the Keshe Foundation in Austria, in what we call internet bank across. But then we transmit into another part of the world where the producers and the editors are sitting. In a way, usually the producers are sit within, especially a live program on a regular basis, and everything else. But The structure of the Keshe Foundation is totally different. Our editors and producers are sitting in another remote country, nothing to do with the center. And everything is synchronized. Whatever you send, they go through it, they load up. And this is the beauty of One Nation program. We are not sitting and broadcasting everything out of Austria. No, Austria is just a base, what we call, for sound and the desk and the chair and the table, I call it. But the program comes from you around the world. It goes into a bank, as you've seen it. You worked on these 3-minute introductions. And then while we transmit, it goes back to another country. The producers and editors, then they work on it. And then you see it. This way, we made sure nobody can touch the Keshe Foundation television. The station is in different country. The producers and editors full-time in different country. Keshe Foundation studio in one country, and the rest of you across the board are sending everything in. And then you will see in the next few weeks how it comes. We put the timetable of the nation languages today, just past few minutes, on the representative of the Keshe Foundation TV. Look at it, there are some, what we call, requests for the same time, same place. And we ask you to talk to each other and find a compromise. Which one of you is prepared to move? And this was expected, especially in Western Europe. I was expecting a number of nations' timetable will clash, request the same because of the culture in the West. And we'll see how you accommodate it. Go on it, have your representative, take it back to your groups and finish it by next day or two, that we can allocate to the what they call the editors and the television. These are the times they have to load up everything new which comes up. And there's one thing which I've learned in the past few years is do not expect to have a live presentation every Thursday that will be in front of camera or teaching will be done. We had a very, very harsh experience while we were broadcasting from the, what we call the exhibition center. And I learned how people betray you while you're teaching and spreading the knowledge. And for this reason, we will never be 100% all the time where people expect us to be. Because they know you are there and they know at that time they can hit you hard. And I got hit hard personally in that day while I was teaching, and I stopped broadcasting from the lens. If you remember, we went on the screen and started sharing. We promised we keep our position and integrity silent till the courts speak. And then we tell you how much damage was done to me personally during the teaching. Even they come and listen to this and they write rhetorics against it. It doesn't matter. Keshe Foundation is much bigger than me and much bigger than all of us. But we have to understand we have one target. The target is world peace. We have turned world leaders to listen to it. And we have turned powerful people to understand the changes there. As I said, when you had the surge yesterday, we have our monitors in the background internationally monitoring. As we all went down and we started listening with half an hour delay, and coincidentally, we just came about as a time, we call it Salah Tahvil, which means the beginning of the year, the spring starts, we measure it to the second. Then the people from the White House were online. People from Beijing, CPC were online. People from Russia were online. People from different governmental organizations in Iran were online. They were all waiting to see if this child is going to be born and how it will be. And it couldn't come better than what we did. It was perfect in a way that it shows the diversity, but within the people who understand and respond and are responsible for the ethos they stand for. Yesterday, as we finished, as I arrived home, I received a report of who been on the line. And it's amazing when you look out of the millions which they brought the server down, and there are some of the world leaders sitting. Even through their, what I call VPNs and everything else, we can track them. We know exactly where they come. And this wasn't the first time, if you remember, when we released the patents a few years ago, European servers came down and the European governments realized how European patent office servers came down. They couldn't understand. They thought it was an attack. And then they added servers after servers because the European patent could not be left down. And this gone for days. According to what we were told, 400 servers were brought in for the people to download such a massive patents. When we said it, people said it's impossible. The guy just talks. We saw it yesterday. The number of people who wanted to be there runs into millions, and they brought the server down because it said the server capacity has reached. We were watching it. Again comes on. This server capacity has reached. They could not. So the server providers had to borrow, cajole from other server providers to be able to back. That's why it took half an hour. They had to bring other servers in that they could support the live transmission. And it's in line with what we told you happened in European Patent Office when we released the patent. Keshe Foundation has over 200 million plus followers around the world. And yesterday we showed it again for a second time. And it's not something which a lot of governments will ignore because there has to be a response to such a movement. But we have to make sure it's a correct way and it's done the right way, that we get the maximum benefit to change the course for peace. As they said, television never came down. None of the servers came down. They were so sure they will support it. They had to actually get people behind the scene to back servers and servers that it could meet such a demand short term. We had the same situation today. So it shows there is a big movement in the background with the Keshe Foundation. And all of us have created. And I thank you for all your time and effort and all this teaching which is going on from nation to nation. I could facilitate. Now it's your turn to run. I'm not the runner. As I said, as of today, I more or less move more away from the foundation work that is run by the, what we call the management of it. And I take position in what I call spreading the work in a very advanced level in universities with the world leaders and the rest. But I still stand fully responsible for the whole operation of the Keshe Foundation worldwide. It's not that I walk away and I'm escaping, as I was told, I'm about to go to prison as we hear. The prison is a mind of those who prison themselves with their lies and cheats. We talk very direct and the truth, and you should have given you a very good indication yesterday. Massive servers were brought in to just meet the demand of 2 hours of transmission. The same today, they were prepared to get hit again. Let's see what comes up. And I gave you the baby. Now you have to feed it, to dry it, and to look after it. And let it grow very fast. You have a few months to let it grow, not years and 18 years of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. And thank you, everybody, for attending today and allowing us to present what a historic day. Please mark it down. Where were you on March 21st, 2021? Thanks again. Over to you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. With such an audience, I know you don't want commercial advertisers probably selling, potato chips or something like that. But what sort of advertisers would be allowed to be on the platform? Since it's such a large audience, a global company, I would say, would be very interested.
At the moment, for the next month, we're running the trials. We're just building up the backup, all the teachings, all the videos people make, all the news. And with it, we would like, the next step is to embed the Keshe Foundation, especially the education side, into the governmental education website, which means if you are a child, you want to know the plasma in China or in India or in England or wherever, they link you directly to our teaching, because we don't have enough teachers to go around and teach for them to understand. So we do a global transfer of technology and knowledge to youngsters and above directly from television set. We expect a lot of new ways of teaching and understanding. And in a way, as to say, the proof of pudding is in eating it. And today was a beautiful example of it. We explained about the corona, and then by coincidence, in the past few days, Hawaii's have loaded the thing up. And the director of the foundation wanted to be there, and it was just like a gift. You could see it was just the corona, it was everything else. We summed up a lot of things. But in general, we look for the Keshe Foundation to receive a vast income through its advertising, which is from the companies who are ethically correct towards peace. This is one of the first points that any of you accepting advertising. We don't want companies who are in the front, they call it politically correct in the front, and in the back they do everything else to advertise. We want to encourage the more younger people. In the next few weeks, you will see new dimensions in Keshe Foundation work. We don't go out till we achieve it, but the process has started in new ways. From now on, you can find Keshe Foundation on Amazon. For years, we did not do such a thing. Now, the Amazon has already, not only in the Kindle, but in the hard copy, in the shop of the Keshe Foundation, we have opened now Amazon.com, Keshe Foundation. If you go Keshe Foundation, Amazon, you come up. The sales team in the background start loading things up. We create a platform very much like Amazon in the coming weeks. We are working on it. You got to understand that when this Amazon structure type thing came into being as .coms in 1990s, I owned 4 of the best groups in England. Those days, we were the leaders. We had the same structure as Amazon, but in a very direct way. Amazon came in later on. But as I left my world of business to establish the Keshe Foundation, we shut everything down. The same structure now has been taught, but in a more advanced way, and the same platform goes back into operation. What you see Amazon today, we did it in 1996, 97, where order comes through the computers at the front and the stockroom was in the back. Massive, 10,000 square meters of a stockroom could support. But to me, establishing the Keshe Foundation and spreading knowledge was more important than the wealth which was going on. And now we have a much more advanced systems. Structure has been set up in China, structure has been set up in Austria. A lot of things you saw with ordering and waiting for weeks and months, being loyal to the foundation that they'll come. It will change now to 7 days and the next 2 or 3 months on a daily basis. We have restructured. So you will see the Keshe Foundation plasma technology will invite all the distributors back in to have their own platforms on the platform of Keshe Foundation worldwide. And at the same time, the companies who support peace and sign themselves into peace, we give them a chance. They can advertise. But on the other hand, you have to go for these kind of people to bring advertising to you. That what it brings them globally. And what will happen when you advertise in the Romanian part or Bulgarian part, in Romanian and Bulgarian language, the local shops who sell plasma products, how do they do? At the same time, we give them a platform, Keshe Foundation plasma platform. It'll be on in the next few weeks. So when you put the plasma anywhere on Google, you end up on the home of the plasma. We have made a lot of steps. Many of the legal operations of the using name of the foundation will be closed down. We have taken steps. And I've seen in past few days, again has come up that I've been sentenced to 10 years in prison in Italy. Dream, lying is easy. The legal frame of Italy has already started. You cannot go to prison when they have stolen from you. And we see this continuously being fed on the internet. Do not be surprised if the feeders of these news will end up in prison. They are deliberately discrediting the foundation. Don't forget, now we see the text is the same as what was for past 6-7 years on the other Belgians who set up all these things. And now we know the people who share pillow with us were actually behind all this. This will shock you, but you'll find out how targeting was done. Wasn't from outside. Inside was writing in the name of outside. And officials will take action for these things. And you understand why there is so much rhetoric in the past few weeks, as they knew that we are opening the television, as they knew now we become ambassadors of peace. You will understand very soon. They've been told and financed by their government. But other nations will take a step. And when you read what goes on in past few weeks on the internet, and you remember past years we had with the same subject, with the same people from the same nation, now you understand who actually betrayed the whole foundation from the beginning. And don't be surprised, you will see more, because this is the way they tried to shoot us, they tried to discredit us, and now we know the people who were sitting in the bedrock of discrediting in the name of the Red Circle and the rest were people who shared pillow with us, the knowledge and everything else, the hidden spies. And now we see the same thing, nothing different. And the truth is, ask yourself one question. If the man who's given everything to humanity, will he damage his own blood? Then you understand how much lies you've been fed. Because it suits them, they are servant to their masters to discredit the technology, the way it did very much by Stephen Hawking and others. Now you understand how much you have to see more coming. They listen to every broadcast and they write 180 degrees their lies into. And now governments outside have started taking action. Do not be surprised if you see changes, and then you will see why. Because it's the same way every time. The Keshe Foundation has taken huge steps. Because they were inside, they could premeditate it. This time it could not premeditate it to be done. And it could not be preempted. And this is why we're going so fast, because they could see where we are. They could report to their masters how we are doing, and they preempted us. This time, There is no pillow talk. This is a talk of men and women who devoted their life to peace, and we achieved it. I promise you, we would have never reached the television opening today. We would have been disrupted, we've been told, brought down like everything we saw. And we tell you, we have kept the dossier of the telephone call which has been made to the police, to the exhibition center and everything else by one woman, even to our banks, our headquarters, our banks, went under such a pressure to close our accounts. And they said, Mr. Keshe, you have done not a single thing wrong. And we are watching how they are doing it. Now you understand. I opened the book because it's about the time to open. If we would have been still in the same circle, you would have never seen the television opening up. They would have closed it long before knowing who's doing what is doing. The operation in China would have been blocked. The opening of the new factory in Austria would have been blocked. The opening of every research we did would have been blocked. Now we have the television, we go open with it. You have to understand, if you support the technology so vastly, why do you go out and put everything which you think could be made wrong for the government to shut you down? That the leaders of the nation tell you, he's a nuclear physicist, he knows what to do. Madam, take a walk for your nation. This is how we could not succeed from step to step, because we betrayed right in the center. Now we open the book, we have a television channel, we can talk, or we can show evidence. But we wait till the day the court has spoken. And then we open the books. And then you see how shameful has been what you see within the structure, and who in Keshe Foundation is taking shape to support as part of what it was to silence the technology. Even they went within Iran, trying to create mayhem in Iran within the Keshe Foundation, and the Iranian security have not done. A nation does not allow its scientists to be touched. If we had same situation as last year today, we would not have seen the opening of the television channel, we would have seen none of the progresses have been achieved in the past 6 months. Because nobody can tell a secret out anymore. Nobody could betray before we walk. And Italian authorities are waiting for me in Rome in the next few days. And I see if I end up in prison for 10 years. And you see how much light has been put to discredit. Don't forget, the international police is looking at this very clearly. This time is Corona and everybody's looking for a way out. And the Keshe Foundation has seen us that. And the Iranian government has stood by scientists. Mercy the church. And this time will succeed because there's no one to betray us from inside. Let them put more rubbish on the internet and more false interviews and more everything else. We've seen this with Sterling. If you remember, Sterling brought our website down twice, claiming he is nothing, and I accused him of. And 6 months later, he's spending solitary prison for life, connected to the same people in Belgium. Exactly. Connected directly to the same people who have stopped us up to. They're all one team, and we open the books very soon. With the police files, not accusations. Then, as we are a broadcasting news and station, we show defending how Keshe Foundation has been solved. Today and yesterday television program is a victory for all of us, because now we have nobody inside to betray us. Because if you're loyal and it was good till the day before and the day after you've been caught, everything is wrong with it, so there is something wrong with you, not with the organization. And many of you have been wise, just listening and understanding, but asking yourself one question. How could a man who's doing everything for humanity let his own family down? Impossibilities. and the family. It's the Keshe Foundation family, and it grows up very rapid from now. Accept advertising from everyone who is signing a peace treaty. Your national organizations want to advertise. Open your books that you don't invest in any companies which is in what we call military and finances in that kind of direction. Sign your company to peace and make it the front line for every advertising. Today, we have shown we had more people than yesterday. There are many television channels hope to get for one program, and it's right across the world. So you have the audience. And we will see how this will take shape in the coming times as we put news which the rest of the world is waiting to hear. And you will understand soon why. I use the television channel with the help of the Keshe Foundation team to make it the center for news for peace, news for technology, and news for collaboration between nations. And this is the only 3 targets I have from today. I wonder if Microsoft will ever advertise on Keshe Foundation. And my advice to most of those who decide on the future of Keshe Foundation, refuse Microsoft. Because it's very soft, but micro, but it's deadly. Thank you very much.
I was just trying to think of some companies who aren't involved in war or cross links to other corporations or so on. I wasn't able to think of too many. I was thinking of a animal rescue.
There are many small traders, 1 or 2 shops or 10 shops in your local area. Support them if they are in that level to become big, that they become the future of the nation. They don't have money for advertising. Tell them become a distributor and we advertise you as a distributor. They will get their trade. I come from a background of partnership, and it's much more profitable when you barter than you pay. Well, I've said many times before opening up the East with Russian connected governments in 1990s, there was no money exchange. Even the governments at the highest level could not, because Russians were very clever. They collected the money, but they gave goods against it. And they always called it barter. And for years, I bartered with the Russians and Eastern Bloc. And it was always profitable. Bargain with your people. Because don't look at it, the Keshe Foundation is not a profit-making organization. The whole object is for people to see the benefit. If people, you're a distributor and the gentleman wants to advertise his shop that is selling goods or whatever, yes, you can do that. What you sell, the Keshe Foundation products in your shop and display and whatever. The commission, the money you want to collect from agency will come from years and years of selling goods in the shop. Offer them. You don't need to do anything. We give you the product. You can advertise your shop freely and with our product in it. Now you can do it on television, easy. And then your agents, your distributors will make their living as much as the shopkeeper, and the foundation reaches its goal. Put a logo, I sell Keshe Foundation products outside each shop, and give them free advertising in exchange for barter for selling Keshe Foundation products. And at the same time, if you're a distributor, when you do this, you tell your organization, your group, that I have this and this. I make the money, foundation makes the money, and at the same time, the knowledge spreads. And it's the distributor response what he wants to put in the community. But as the sale comes through a national structure to us, we subsidize the nation program, even if the agent does not share funds. Try to become innovative and find ways that you can do it and they can do it. You can walk 10 kilometers on your own, but 100 kilometers when the others carry you with them. I have no problem if you want to advertise on Keshe Foundation and it's transparent that you're an agent, you get your cut as a representative, but you have 20 shops which sell their goods and they freely advertise on the Keshe Foundation and your section. No problem. Because the foundation, the process of payment for its advertising comes from the selling of our products. And even the distributor who gets paid spends the money in his own nation, so still wealth goes back to the nation. We certain percentage of the sales from the what we call national television, right, goes back to you. We don't lose. We have no way to lose because we don't need to show profit. We are not there to make profit. We are there to facilitate, and always things comes that way. You are Bulgarian, you are American, you're Canadian, you are a distributor. Go to the shops and says, I advertise your thing on the international and national, and give your email. People will send from all over the world nowadays orders. Unlock the shop or what they do will give us the percentage of whatever from the shop income towards it. It doesn't matter because your sale, they bring that and it allows the foundation to be known internationally. This process of the sales and selling has to change. You have to become innovative. Give them free advertising. In exchange for selling Keshe Foundation goods in their shop with a prime position. Even if you take 5 minutes of your 1 hour, 10 minutes of your time advertising products for Keshe Foundation, not as a guest. Even we put the shop on the platform which we are opening. Because at the end, whatever you sell goes back to the foundation, spent back on the foundation. That makes us more visible and people understand our ethos and what we want to do. Don't be afraid of advertising, but make sure that people you advertise with are not connected to what I call war system. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, Yvonne with you, are you going to be doing any more speaking at online conferences?
What do you mean?
Well, a couple of days ago, you did do a session, an opening session at an online conference. I wondered,
In
are you
Philippines,
doing? Yes, that's the one I'm talking
yeah.
about.
If you notice past 4 or 5 years since Italy, we kept away from any press conference or invitation. I hardly gave any interviews where we used to do on a regular basis. Now that we got rid of the pains and all the people who were distracting from inside, yes, we have started and we've been invited to a number of them, but I choose the reason we did the one, we did one 2 weeks ago with another group with a very large supporting base. And if you have big organizations who want to do the interviews, internet or television, brings them huge traffic. Yes, we do. We are back on it because this is part of the bringing data to the foundation. The interview we did in the conference in Philippines is done through an organization which we have connections with and worked on by the one of the members of Universal Council. The Universal Member Councils are working very hard, a lot of them in the background, creating conditions for the foundation to reach its target. And yes, that was done organized by one of the members of the Keshe Foundation team, Universal Council members, and I was a guest member who was put in the last minutes by the look of it or whatever. But it was an eye-opening for the world scientists to listen to it. We're trying to do the same kind of work with a couple of space agencies in the next couple of weeks.
That would be very nice. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
We have to, because we are waiting for a specific move in the next few weeks. If that move is made, as we've been told is possible, then the whole position of the Keshe Foundation will change in this respect. Because every time I give interviews, we see a huge traffic through Keshe Foundation. And to sustain it, it's no way. We used to be top 25,000 websites in the world when I used to continuously put the Keshe Foundation in front. And now at that time was the huge numbers. Now is such a larger number. We still stand at the top 300,000. Now we can come down to top 20,000 in continuous pressure. Keshe Foundation traffic, when we tell you what it is, we watch, we monitor in a very different way, plus not only on us, but on the people who go across watching the same page or reading the same page. It's like the way Rick works. Rick is one person on his link on his YouTube, but it's got 2, 3, 5,000 whatever people who goes on his and listen through his because of his, they're loyal to him. And we have thousands of people like this who have 200, 500 in different languages because they do the translation. And then they pick up. And this is how Keshe Foundation reaches 10, 15 million every week on Thursday teaching. Because the people who go to Rick, they have a group of 20, 30, 50 people themselves, some of them, that they listen to it. And we see how rapidly it expands. Because they end advertising with the people who understand the language or whatever. Estimate at the moment by internet organizations which we use continuously, like yesterday, we know roughly how many million people were online to come into the Keshe Foundation opening. We have a very good idea, and then we watch now when the videos go up, how many people will watch the videos. One video of the Keshe Foundation about 8 years ago reached over 3 million in less than a month. And immediately, the people who we know now, we see them active again on the internet, their masters went and they brought it down. We know what we are followed by, but we have to watch. And now I gave 2 interviews about 2 weeks ago to one channel, maybe you've seen it. And now I gave a regular interviews to 1111 because now they're part of the Keshe Foundation team in Italy. They work with the production side. Then I gave an interview, and there are about 10 or 20 lined up in the next couple of months.
That's good because we need a lot to come out.
If you organize with the network people who have web networks or web structure or televisions, we always give interviews because interviews brings population to understand.
Well, not that I know of anybody who I could say, can you interview Mr. Keshe? But I'm sure that a lot of people in the audience have these connections, and
Yes,
that you're open to interview would
we,
be good news to them.
we have to, especially now with the TV channel, how many of you have linked the TV channel to the others to come and watch? But we need to build it up first before we go out fully. We need to load up a lot of programs in the coming weeks with the editors and team of editors sitting in, what do you call it, on top of the television channel, build up at least 2-3 days in advance programs set up, and then we'll see how. Can you please, while you're online, the Romanians, the Bulgarians, the French, and the Italians, go to the representative section and see and sort out. There's a couple of inclusions of time between different groups. Talk to each other and move yourself within half an hour, either way, that you can accommodate each other. The timetable for your programs is on that. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for answering my questions. Thank you. And I hope you had a good, happy new year.
Oh, we couldn't be happier than I had a fantastic news just as we finished yesterday, or we were doing the program. And I'm hoping that the news was so true. We'll know in the next few hours. And as I said to the Keshe Foundation team, that was the best New Year's news or gift I could receive. And one day we tell you why, the way we told you what happened to us while we were in the exhibition center. Then you understand that a lot of devious behavior around the Keshe Foundation. Any other question? Thank you very much for the support, and please produce as many programs as you can and feed into the station, that we build up a huge catalog and a huge structure in the background with it.
Thank you for that explanation on the television. I thought it was just some sort of snafu or something with a new setup and all this, but it was actually, and people did say that in the chat, that the servers were overloaded. And, that's a very good sign.
It took 45 minutes to bring support servers in. I think what they did, the television server providers went out and literally borrowed and whatever they paid charges for it to be able to go to carry on, because the television people could not support it. I call it the overdraft service, so they borrowed short term because they couldn't let the audience go down in the first broadcast from the television set. These stations are supported not for 100 or 200,000 people to watch movies at the same time. They're supported to stand a lot of traffic, and the traffic was too much. It didn't happen last week. It didn't happen the day before. It didn't happen an hour before. As we came, people start coming in millions. They just brought the server under pressure.
I guess it's a good problem to have.
It shows Keshe Foundation is not, what do you call it, a small organization.
It's not a lightweight.
We are very heavyweight. We are extremely heavy, but we are very humble too.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Keshe, and all the
Thank you very
knowledge seekers here. about midnight, I think, European time. Is there anyone else who'd like this opportunity to open your mics, come forward, say a little bit? We know we're all pleased with what has happened the last 2 days, and it will continue to grow. We need to do our part to get these videos and this content in.
You've been asking for this to get the Keshe Foundation out in public. Now it's been achieved. Now it's time for you to carry out what you asked for, to support it and to build it.